Well, morning folks, and welcome to Old Classic Car. Video with a bit of a difference today. Apologies if I sound a little bit croaky. I've been slightly off form this week, but on the mend now. I am down at Malcolm Harrison Auctions, which is at Priest, not a million miles away from Whitchurch in Shropshire. And I just happened to notice in an email yesterday that in their upcoming auction there are some interesting old vehicles, and I thought what a great opportunity to come and have a quick wander around and just see what is here. Now, this is all a bit lastminute.com. Today is Thursday the 6th of February, and the auctions for the vehicles I'm going to feature in this video take place on Saturday morning, this Saturday the 8th of February. So if you want to have a bid on any of the vehicles that are going to feature in this video, then I suggest you hotfoot it over to the Malcolm Harrison auction website. I'll include a link in the description and you can find out all the details there. But I thought what a great opportunity to have a look at some fascinating vehicles. They're all kind of restoration projects apart from one, which I'm hoping to see shortly. But let's just have a quick wander around here. And we have a trio of fire service fire appliances here for airports. I think I've got that right. Now, I think we have two Dennises, two Dennises and a Carmichael. Slightly frosty underfoot, so I'll have to watch where I'm going, but yeah, fantastic. Who doesn't love a bit of restoration project walk around? Very nice old Lucas lamp on there, we like a bit of that. I wonder where this served. So it's based on a Dennis. We also have Thornycroft Nubian Major. But whatever it is, what a great bit of kit that is. I wonder what will happen to this. Will it get restored? Will it go for export? I know a lot of older commercial vehicles end up being exported. Now, I'm not quite sure if these vehicles are open, but let's just lift the camera up and have a quick peer inside the cab. Like I say, this is all a bit last minute, this particular video, but I hope you do like it. Please watch it through to the end because there are a few interesting cars also coming up very, very shortly. As for the paperwork situation, well, I haven't had a chance to look into that for these vehicles, so again, any inquiries that you have, best give the Malcolm Harrison team a quick bell and just see what the story is. But yeah, fantastic. What a great way to spend a lovely day, actually. Not a cloud in the sky, a little bit chilly, bit of ice around, but apart from that, now this one appears to be open, so I think it would be rude not to have a quick look inside. Look at that. Wow. If these could talk. Yeah, it'd be great to know where these served. Proper heavy bits of kit. And look at this over here. Now this one is badged up as a Thornycroft. Conversion by Carmichael. Clearly they've been sat around a little while looking at the remnants of undergrowth, which are still attached, but yeah. Airport Fire and Rescue. So is that BA? Maybe, who knows. Oh, here we go. Blackpool Airport. So that's answered that question. But how fantastic is that? What a great trio. Regulars to the channel will know I am fond of an old commercial vehicle, especially one that needs restoring. Bit of work to do there, but hopefully they go on to suitable homes. I know there's a lot of scrap metal in these, but they deserve a better fate than that, hopefully, even if they're just sold for spares, who knows. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff here. This is one big auction company. They do a lot with trucks, tractors, trailers, all that kind of thing, plant, industrial gear, tools, etc. But every now and again something old pops up in their sales catalogue, and that is why I am here today. Look at this old track Marshall. Wow, that's been sat a while. Look at steam yacht. Well, it's obviously had a tree growing up through it between the tracks and the main body, the main chassis. But wow, that is incredible. How cool is that? I did do a video a few years ago now at Hastings on the beach, and where there's all sorts of old crawlers still in use. So if you haven't seen that one, it might be worth looking that out if you like your old crawlers and bulldozers and all that kind of thing. But yeah. That's pretty amazing. Right, so let's carry on down here, because I believe there are a few cars down here. But oh, what's this? An old diesel roller. Old Massey Ferguson as well. Wow. Yep. Lots to keep someone busy here. So what's that? A Marshall Fowler. You could have a bit of fun with that. Something for everyone here, I think. I spy cars, so let's start ambling in that general direction, but not before we've looked at this 1970s-ish JCB. I can see the doors open on the other side, so let's amble on round that way, mosey on round and check it out. Oh, it's not a JCB, is it? It's a Massey Ferguson. Silly me. MF. Let's have a little look in here. Door is kind of open, not quite, so we can just stick the camera through here. I wonder where these have all been. Where have they worked? What have they done during their working lives? It'd be pretty cool to know. Apologies for any reflections. The sun is quite low this time of year. It is winter, beginning of February. A bit more plants down here. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to do more videos like this. And before I forget, big thanks to everyone at Malcolm Harrison for letting me come in and feature some of the vehicles that are coming up in their imminent auction. That's quite a chunky fella, isn't it? MED, so that's a Warrington registration, I think, from the beginning of the 1980s. Yep. There's a few cars there from the 1980s. So we'll have a closer look at those in a minute, because we always like to have a look at these old restoration projects. Another track Marshall here with a bulldozer front on it. And again, this one looks like it's been sat for quite some time. Look at that. So there's the big old diesel engine, the CAV pump on the side there. What does the future hold for this, I wonder? Those tracks haven't been used in a while. Another track Marshall. It'd be rude not to have another look at this diesel roller here, as we are here. Again, looks like it's been pulled out of the undergrowth somewhere. If nothing else, I'm sure there are lots of useful spares for somebody here. Right. Let's carry on down here just in case we spot something interesting. Look at this little dumper. Pretty neat rear steering. But again, hasn't moved under its own steam in quite some time. Like I say, there is a catalogue on the website describing these vehicles and how to go about buying, how to go about bidding, that kind of thing. Like I say, the auction is Saturday morning. Look at this. Ooh, we've got an old military trailer here. That's quite neat. I like the old reflectors on it. So when's this from? What, the 50s? Could even be a little bit earlier than that. So much interesting stuff. Alright, here, let's carry on. So what's this, a generator of some description? Again, it's got some age to this. Look at those reflectors. I've never seen one like that before. Yeah. But this is something that is truly incredible. Yes, it's not a car, but this is an old Russian, apparently an old Russian railway carriage that's been mounted many years ago onto this chassis, and the chassis itself, what's that? That's got to be over 100 years old in its own right. Look at that, solid rubber tyres. Wow, look at that. Let's go around the other side because there's some interesting detail there as well. Look at that. On the website it says it's an old Russian railway carriage. Presumably it's been converted into some sort of living accommodation, perhaps towed behind like a travelling circus vehicle, that kind of thing. Cool, what a history this must have. Hopefully this goes on to be restored. Look at that. Wow, that is pretty epic. I'm not going to go inside because obviously we don't quite know how structurally sound or otherwise that is. But let's just stand back a bit. You can see it properly. I love the little veranda at the top there. But this chassis is very interesting in its own right. Look at that. So you got twin, wider wheels at the back with twin solid tyres on it. So days before pneumatic tyres. Look at the construction of this. You've got a huge drive gear there. So presumably that received drive from something up there once upon a time. But yeah, wow. Let's just have a closer look under there. What a thing. It'd be great to see this restored at a steam rally somewhere. Let's just poke the camera in here. Isn't that incredible? What a beautiful ceiling. Isn't that lovely? I mean, that's got some age to it, and again, if only it could talk. Yeah, I really hope someone takes that on and rescues it. Right folks, car time. And yeah, we've got quite the assortment of project stroke spares cars here. So we might as well start with the nearest one. It's an XR 4x4. So this was the V6 powered 4-wheel drive Ford Sierra. Looks like this one's been well picked over, but I'm sure there's still quite a few useful parts there for somebody. Like I said before, I have no idea what the paperwork situation, the V5 situation is with any of these vehicles, so you'll need to check that out before you go bidding. Do all your usual due diligence. And here, wow, a Morris Minor Traveller. This one's been, well, it's been sat a little while, hasn't it? The woodwork is looking a bit delicate, but you know, anything can be restored. You can buy all the wood for these. It's on the J, so what's that, about 1970 or 71 perhaps. No separate chassis on these. Of course the vans and the pickups have the separate chassis, but these do not. And that woodwork is structural, but you can buy it all. And even though it looks pretty ropey, especially on this side, it's looking past its best, as you can see. But you know, sometimes when you buy a project Morris Minor Traveller, you see one that's a bit better than perhaps this one looks. But when you actually start digging, you end up replacing all the woodwork anyway, so you know, you'd probably get this one for not a lot of money. And the difference between buying this and maybe a slightly cosmetically better one that ends up needing the wood would probably be the cost of a wood kit, I would have thought. So yeah, I wonder if this door will open. You have to be a little bit cautious. Yeah, the door opens. Yeah, plenty of work for someone to do there. So like I said, it's quite a late one on a J plate, right at the end of pretty much of Morris Minor production. We'll just put that to as best we can. You can tell the later ones because later Minors, they have the silver wheels, whereas of course most of the ones that you see have these sort of cream old English white wheels, but the last ones had the silver wheels like this. Yeah, plenty of work for someone to do there. You'd want to have a good look underneath. Where do Morris Minors rust? Well, pretty much everywhere. Sills, floors, the cross member that runs underneath the floor, the ends of which form the jacking points. They're always a bit of a problem area on these. Behind the wheels here, plenty to do. At least the wings unbolt, so you can get at things, which isn't always the case. Yeah, a bit of work to do there, but you know, someone might do it, who knows. Interesting to see what it does actually sell for. I'm guessing not a lot. Yeah, black door trims as well, black seat. Again, that's a feature of the very late Morrises, I believe. I think it's when they started cheapening things a little bit. They just had this sort of black vinyl interior. The front seats have been changed, but the back seat and the door trim over there and over there, they look to be original. But yeah. Wonder what will happen to that. Now, one thing that really caught my eye about this particular auction is this incredible assortment of fairly tired looking BMWs of the 1980s. And as soon as I saw them I thought I'll have to come here, because yeah, I do like an old BMW, and these 6 Series Coupes in good condition, these are super popular. Now I think there are 3 here, I think, all of them looking a little bit less than factory, and this one in particular showing just how rusty these can go. But like I say, done up, these can be worth quite a chunk of money. I love the old shark nose front on this era of BMW, still with the factory alloy wheels there as well. So yeah, pretty cool. It's kind of sad seeing them like this, but you know, it's a few years old now. Now, are any of these restorable? Are they viable projects, or are they parts cars? That's the big question, really. Maybe one car could be made out of the 3, who knows? But if you're into your old BMWs, well, look at these. It's actually not too bad round here, funnily enough. Bit of rust on the sunroof panel, but nothing too untoward. So look, arches, actually, they're not too bad really. Certainly that one isn't. Anyway, so which model is this? The badge is gone. It's probably a 635 CSI, so that'll be the 3.5 litre. This is where the original factory toolkit would have been in there. Actually, boot floor's not too bad. It's had a little bit of a nerf on the corner. I think they've all had some accident damage. I guess it just depends how bad it is. Is this open? Who remembers the days when you used to etch your registration number into the glass on the car? There, look. Hopefully it won't set the alarm off. Somehow I doubt it. Let's get that open. Lovely frameless door glasses on these as well. Automatic box. But yeah, once upon a time this would have been a very swish car indeed. As for now, is it viable? Are these viable projects? Maybe. If they come at the right price, I guess. I wonder if the bonnet's open. Where's the catch? See if we can see the catch. Don't want to force anything. Maybe not. But anyway, let's have a quick look in here as well. The driver's compartment, proper. I love this era of BMW dashboard. Everything's lovely and clear. The dash wraps around you. Proper controls for the heating, note. Not like all these screens that you get foisted upon you nowadays. Yeah, proper BMW interior. I like a bit of that. So let's just close that up. Like I say, this is going for auction. I won't force anything. It's going up for auction in just a couple of days or so. And next to it we have a 7 Series. The other 6s are just over the back over there, so I'll have a look at those. But let's have a look at things in the order that they are parked. So this is a 7 Series, the E23 era of BMW 7 Series. These came out in the late 1970s. And this one looks like it needs a bit of TLC. Kind of an overlooked model. Everyone raves about 3 Series and 5 Series BMWs. But the bigger 7s, despite having very similar running gear, don't tend to get the same amount of love. And, yeah. A mate of mine's dad had one of these, a 728, so it was on carburettors. Again, is it a viable project? Who knows? I doubt that the end value will be the same with one of these compared to the 6 Series coupes, but you know, there's a lot of useful parts here. Someone clearly liked their BMWs back in the day. Yeah, this is not the worst. The doors are a bit frilly at the bottom. Do we know what model this is? 732i, North Wales registration. So in those days, the model number on the boots, that would tell you. So this is a 7, so it's a 7 Series 3.2 fuel injected. So that's actually quite a rare version. But is it rare enough to warrant it being saved? Someone's had to go out the back window. Yeah, quite the assortment of slightly tired old BMWs, but hopefully they'll prove of use to somebody, even if only for parts. Next to that, we've got a classic Range Rover. This appears to be on a B plate, so about 1984, early 1980s, that kind of thing. Looking pretty faded. Manual gearbox. So what engine will this have in it then? Again, don't know what the paperwork situation is with this either. So don't take this walk around as recommendation for buying any of the vehicles shown. But if you're interested, contact the office here and they'll give you all the details in a small print. Yeah. Well, lots of people are restoring these old Ranges. Whether this one's a bit past it, I'm not quite sure. Probably all comes down to the condition of the bulkhead and the chassis, separate chassis. But people do go mad for old Range Rovers and Land Rovers, so you know, maybe someone will take it on, who knows. If you buy any of the vehicles shown in this video, please pop a note in the comments. It'd be great to hear what the plans are for it. And here, oh dear, another one of the 6 Series coupes. This one has had a sizable nerf in the front, so I think we can probably say that's a parts car at best. But lots and lots of parts are on it. Yeah. There's an engine in there. So which model is this? Let's have a quick look. Don't know. Red Rose Motors of Chester. Hard to imagine this was a prestigious motor car at one time. Still with the original dealer sticker in the back window there. Yeah, let's see if we can. Does that? Yeah, it does open. Wow! Can you imagine how chuffed you would have felt when you bought this new and it was delivered and ready for you? Yeah, again, automatic. You'd have felt the bee's knees driving around in one of these. Well, yes, that's had a pretty hefty impact against something fairly solid, sadly. Right, let's carry on back over here. What's this lovely horse-drawn creation here? A nice bit of sign writing on it. Look at that, Glen Castings Limited. Wouldn't that look lovely hanging up on the wall, even just the tailgate. Meadows Mill of Burnley. Wow. Again, I'm sure that'll go on to be reused somewhere else. Right, back to cars. Another 7 Series here, another E23. This one on a B plate, so again about 84. Clearly been sat quite some time. Very flat sides on these. That's one thing I remember about these when I used to look at my mate's dad's 728. I think his was on about a T registration. There we go. What a wonderful interior that would have been. Smells a bit musty now. Let's have a quick sit inside, shall we? Yep. Yeah, lovely clear dashboard in these. And here's the engine diagnostics thing. Lights would flash if there were a problem with any of these things. You press the check button and that will give you your diagnostics check. 189,000 miles on this one. I wonder if it'll ever get to 190 somehow. I suspect maybe not, but who knows? Let's just have a quick look round the back here. Yeah. Back arches are good on there. There might be a bit of tinworm underneath, but looks pretty straight round here. Can't see any sign of major nerfage. That's 735i, I think. So there's certainly plenty of work to do here, but if they came for the right price, and again, if you wanted to restore one of these old 7 Series, if you've got the room, it'd probably be worth buying them both, this silver saloon here and the 732i over here. And between them you would probably have quite a useful kit of parts. And here, the third of the 3 6 Series coupes that here, and again this one's had a bit of a biff at the front. Clearly someone was a bit of a fan of their older BMWs. Maybe they worked for a recovery company, that kind of thing, maybe a breaker's yard, something like that. But obviously they were fond of their old BMWs. Maybe these just got put to one side just in case there might be viable projects in the future. This one's got a fair few dings on it on the front and on the rear quarter here as well. So again, it's probably a parts car. Front seats are missing. 180, is that 187,000 I think on that, indicated. No guarantees. It's even had something drop on here, so it's probably rendered this one beyond viable restoration. It was quite a late one on a D, so what's that, about 86? That's a fair bit later than the other ones that are here. Stephen Lean Performance Cars. Be nice to think that something could be done with some of these Beamers. At worst case, they get broken for parts. But these coupes, if one could be made out of these 3 donors, then that would be quite the result, I think. But yeah. Fingers crossed they find appreciative homes wherever they may be. Right. I think now it is probably time to have a look around and just see what other old gems I can spot while I'm walking around this particular auction. Yeah. It's incredible though to see these BMWs here all together. Okay, time for something a little bit shinier here. A beautiful Ford 3600 tractor. That looks in beautiful condition. Again, this is in the auction. There are 2 auctions taking place this Saturday coming up. I've made a note, so let me just find my notes. So there's the truck and trailer auction and the plant and agricultural auction, both taking place on Saturday the 8th of February. But I've come over to this corner of the yard specifically for this, a 1952 Bedford OSS apparently, and what a bobby dazzler that is. Look at that. Isn't that just a beauty? So this is quite a rare, it's a tractor unit, so this is badged up as a Bedford Scamel. As you can see there, Scamel, of course, a name familiar to anyone with an interest in old British lorries. But the Scamel part of this is the coupling, the 5th wheel coupling on the back here. And this is where your articulated trailer would have joined on. Isn't that lovely? Yeah, super little Bedford. Osborne and Richards, good name. General haulage, Colleton 865. Now I don't know if this one is open or not. It is. Oof. Let's have a look inside. I won't clamber in, but just have a lean in. We've got a little plaque there and coupling the tractor. How to go about disconnecting the trailer on the back. Gauge there for vacuum brakes. Yeah. What a little cracker this is. Oof. I'm sure there'll be a lot of interest in this beauty when it comes up for auction in just a couple of days. How nice is that? Couple of seats, big gear lever there, everything you need, nothing that you don't need. Yeah, just a super old lorry, and if you've been following the channel for a while, you'll know that old lorries are definitely a favourite of mine, especially when they're as charming and charismatic as this stunning little Bedford, complete with BDC, the Bedford Drivers Club badge on the front there. Yeah, what a little cracker that is. Wow. I don't think we need worry about that going to a good home. Yeah. And just next to the Bedford, here we have a tanker trailer of some description, bulk liquid division, Osborne and Sons. So from the same stable as the little Bedford just there. I'm guessing this dates to what, the 1960s perhaps. But yeah, that would just look perfect on the back of an old tractor unit. Yeah. Many of the buildings here on site at the Malcolm Harrison auctions are ex-wartime hangars. That is an ex-World War II hangar, because we are on the corner of what was the old RAF Tilstock, which is just over the other side of the road. You can just see another green hangar on the other side of the road over there. Yeah, this would have housed some fairly hefty aircraft back in the 1940s, hence the huge sliding doors that you can see on the front there. But before I disappear for the day, there is just one more place here on site I've been advised that I should go and have a look in. So time to grab a fresh battery and head back into the yard, because I believe there are a few preserve lorries worth having a quick look at. Now, I almost forgot about this one. This again is in the auction on Saturday. A lovely 1947 Ferguson tractor. Wow, its original Shropshire registration, which is very appropriate given where we are today. Regulars on the channel will know we had one of these for, I think it was about 10, maybe over 10 years. Petrol ours was. This one looks in lovely condition. So that's a little toolbox just on the side there. Continental Motors Corporation of the USA, Detroit. So what is that engine? Has this been retrofitted? I don't know my Fergies well enough to comment. But a Continental engine in this one. Wow, that's very, very interesting. Right, I've been advised to go and have a look in the corner of this building because there are a few preserved vehicles which actually belong to the company itself. Who doesn't like a bit of old engineering like this? Old lathe. A few extra items which are in the auction. Lots of bits and bobs, tools, that kind of thing. Actually, that reminds me, there are some ERFs outside which I forgot to look at, so I must remember to do that. Oh, look at these. ERF, Edwin Richard Foden, built in Sandbach, which isn't too far from here, and this is an Atkinson. Wow, look at that. That's a pretty lofty vehicle. Nice to see some of these preserved units here. Malcolm Harrison Road Transport and Construction Plant. Yeah. Wow. This is turning out to be a very interesting morning indeed. Another ERF here. ERF Historic Vehicles. Yeah, lovely condition there. Shell UK. Donated to ERF Historic Vehicles by Shell UK. Wow. Very, very interesting. Right, now I must remember to go and have a look at these ERFs that I saw outside before. And here we go, 4 more modern classic lorries coming up for auction imminently. A Volvo, 2 ARFs and a Foden down the end. But yeah, this is a Volvo F10. Leonard Crane, vintage vehicle enthusiast of Wolverhampton. So what year is that? On a W, so what's that, about 1980? That kind of age. 45 years old, give or take. Nice project for someone. These Volvos are very popular, I believe. Make for a very usable, preserved, truck. Ideal if you want to go on classic truck runs, that kind of thing. Drive pretty much as well as a much more modern vehicle, I would have thought. Certainly compared to that Bedford we were looking at before, which, charming as it is, will be a lot harder work than this, but personally I would still go for the Bedford. But yeah, I can see why these are popular. Next to that, ERF on an E-plate, so about 1986 or 7. Again, quite faded, doesn't look like it's been used in a while. But super restorable. Another one next to it here. Great to see these old Sandbach vehicles clinging on and hopefully going into preservation. Yeah. This one a bit later on an H plate. And on the end here, a Foden, quite a late example of a Foden, I guess. Again, produced in Sandbach in Cheshire. Sadly, no more. Oh, quite an interesting lineup of projects there if you fancy taking on your own bit of classic truck action. Rightio, well that's all done now, so time to get back home, do a spot of editing and get this video out there.